2 million years ago, on the African savannas, a new creature appeared. Not the biggest, not the strongest, but a creature that would one day reshape the destiny of the entire planet. This is the story of us. The story of how a small ape-like being, known as Homo Habilis, began a journey that would eventually give rise to Homo Sapiens, modern humans. Our path was never a straight line. It was a winding tree, with branches that flourished and branches that ended. Some of our cousins thrived for hundreds of thousands of years, only to vanish. Others we carry within our DNA, reminders that we were never alone. In this 1 hour, we will walk through that journey. From the first stone tools to the first sparks of fire. From wandering hunters to the makers of art and myth. This is the tale of survival, struggle, and imagination. This is the story of how we became human. Tour journey begins with Homo habilis, the handyman. They lived between 2.4 and 1.5 million years ago in East and Southern Africa. Compared to their predecessors, the Australopithecines, they had slightly larger brains, about half the size of ours today. But their true breakthrough was not in size, but in skill. They began shaping stones. Simple flakes, sharp edges, crude hammers. These old-known tools marked the dawn of human technology. Imagine the scene. A small group of habilis gathers around a carcass left by lions. With their new tools, they scrape meat from bone, crack open marrow, and survive where others would starve. This new diet, rich in energy, may have fueled their growing brains. And with bigger brains came new possibilities. Better cooperation. Primitive communication. A step away from prey, a step closer to predator. Homo habilis was not the strongest creature on the savanna, but they had discovered something more powerful, the ability to change the world with their hands. From habilis emerged Homo erectus, the upright human. Appearing nearly 1.9 million years ago, they were the first humans to look more like us than apes. Taller, leaner, with long legs built for walking and running. Homo erectus was the first great traveler. They left Africa, spreading into Asia and Europe, adapting to new lands. Their tools advanced, Acheulean hand axes, sharper, more symmetrical, more versatile. But their greatest discovery was fire. Fire changed everything. It cooked food, unlocking nutrients and making it easier to chew. It gave warmth in the cold, protection in the night, and a gathering place for the group. Imagine the glow of a fire on a dark plain. Faces illuminated, stories shared, fears softened. Around the fire, humanity took its first steps toward culture. Homo erectus lived for nearly 2 million years, longer than any other human species. They were survivors, inventors, and wanderers. And in many ways, they lit the path for all who came after. 600,000 years ago, another species rose, Homo heidelbergensis. Larger brains, broader bodies, skilled hunters. They crafted wooden spears, balanced and deadly. They hunted in coordinated groups, bringing down giant animals like horses, deer, and even elephants. For the first time, humans were apex predators. Heidelbergensis also built shelters from wood and stone, a hint of permanence in a world of movement. And in their eyes, we see the ancestors of both Neanderthals and us. They were a bridge species, a turning point in human evolution. From them, two great lineages would emerge. One leading to Neanderthals in Europe, the other to Homo sapiens in Africa. In Europe and Western Asia, the Neanderthals took shape. Short, powerful bodies, adapted for the cold. Broad noses to warm, icy air, thick bones for harsh winters. They were not brutes. They were craftsmen, hunters, survivors. Their tools were complex. They wore clothing, built shelters, controlled fire with skill. Evidence suggests they cared for the sick, buried their dead, and perhaps even played music. A flute carved from bone has been found. For over 300,000 years, Neanderthals thrived. They faced ice ages, predators, and the relentless test of survival. And yet, around 40,000 years ago, they disappeared. But not completely. Because before they vanished, they met us. Homo sapiens. They interbred, leaving traces in our DNA. Even today, millions of people carry fragments of Neanderthal genes within them. The Neanderthals are gone, but in truth they live on inside us. Far to the east, another cousin existed, the Denisovans. We know them not from full skeletons, but from fragments and from their DNA. Their genes survive in modern humans, especially in Asia and Oceania. In Tibetans, Denisovan DNA helps people breathe at high altitudes. Once again, our cousins shaped who we are today. And they were not alone. On islands, small humans lived Homo floresiensis, the hobbit, barely over a meter tall, but skilled toolmakers. In the Philippines, another tiny cousin, Homo luzonensis. Our family tree was once crowded. Many humans walked the earth together, until only one remained. About 300,000 years ago, in Africa, a new species appeared, Homo sapiens. Us. At first, we looked much like our cousins. But inside, something was different. Our brains were wired for imagination. We could think in symbols, invent words, create art. We were storytellers. By 100,000 years ago, our ancestors began leaving Africa. They spread across the Middle East, then Europe, Asia, Australia, and finally the Americas. Along the way, they painted caves with bison and mammoths. They carved figurines. They created rituals, songs, and myths. This was the dawn of culture, a force more powerful than muscle or bone. A force that allowed small bands of sapiens to outcompete every other human species. The world became ours, but it was not strength that won it. It was imagination. Then, around 70,000 years ago, something extraordinary happened. A leap forward in language and thought. Homo sapiens could now share stories, beliefs, and abstract ideas. They imagined gods, spirits, nations. They built cooperation on myths, uniting thousands of strangers under shared identities. This was the cognitive revolution. From hunters and gatherers, we became builders of societies. From small tribes, we grew into civilizations. And in time, we reshaped the entire planet. From Homo Habilis, striking stones on the African plains, to Homo Sapiens, sending machines to Mars. Our journey has been long. And yet, in the scale of time, it has been only a blink. We are the last survivors of a once crowded human family. But within us lie fragments of them all, the toolmakers, the firekeepers, the hunters, the survivors. To understand where we came from is to understand who we are, and perhaps to glimpse who we may become. This is our story. The story of becoming human.